Mark. This is Taste of Schenectady and Beyond. Taste and shop. My mother, who passed, was in the drum circle in Schenectady for years. African, Celtic, Black, Irish, Scots, British and European, Native American, and Latin American peoples' drumming traditions contributed to the broader tapestry of American music through their unique sounds, historical journeys, customs, dance, and traditions. My family are Scottish Rite Prince Hall Masons dating back to the American Revolutionary War. On my mother's side, they are from Barbados, where George Washington and his brother Lawrence were there for years before Prince Hall became a Scottish Rite Freemason under an Irish lodge. Creoles can either be of European descent or African descent or both. And when you think of the Celtic hand drum that in ancient times was a food sieve for separating corn, and then became an instrument that was played with a bone. Now is it's a hand drum where you hold your hand inside and you use a stick instead of a bone. This is what's interesting about how drumming and percussion instruments have worked their way into our history, into our society, into our culture. And this is what I find great about the melting pot called America. Now, I told you that my mother's side of the family are from Barbados. My great-grandparents, my great-grandfather was conscripted to go fight in the Boer Wars for the British in South Africa. Boa, the word Boa just means farmer. And the interesting part about that is that my maternal grandfather, Johnny, when they came back, was born in the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. And, when we think about this bodhran instrument, it's spelt Bodhr with a hyphen over the AN, is a traditional Irish frame drum, and it was typically made with a goat skin head and a deep frame, and you played it with a handheld stick or a bone in ancient times. And this was the Irish traditional musical instrument, but it didn't start. This is a great part about being a foodie and a food publisher. The bodhran did not start as a instrument. It started as a food sieve. And if you look at the Celtic, especially the Black Irish on the western coast of Ireland, you will find in all these ancient ruins and homes, you can still find these sieves, these food sieves. In fact, many of the generations after generations of the Black Irish on the western coast of Ireland still have bodhrans hanging in their kitchens of their home, and they became the traditional instrument to be used. But there's no difference between a bodhran and a tambourine, which Moses's and Aaron's sister Miriam played in the Exodus. You can go to read, the Exodus of the Israelites from bondage in Egypt, and in order to celebrate their deliverance from bondage, Miriam played the hand drum known today as the tambourine, which my mother played the tambourine as well as the drums and the bongos at the J Street Drum Circle for years. So this is what's interesting about how this all is a big melting pot of music, of culture, of food traditions, and Irish pudding the Irish sausage, the pudding that's for a Irish breakfast. You got the black pudding made with the blood, and again, you got to sieve all the different oats in there. But the white pudding is made with a mixture of corn, and they would take the corn and they would sieve that using the bodron, and then they would mix that with the pork fat and the pork, and they would make this white pudding sausage, and then the black pudding, and then you got the beans and the grilled tomatoes and the either sunny side up or scrambled egg and Irish soda bread, and you got the Irish coffee or Irish tea more traditionally, with or without whiskey with an E, Irish whiskey. This is culture, my friends. This is culture. My late cousin, Richard G. McNeil, was a Knights Templar, past eminent commander, also of the Order of Masons under the King of Sweden. Cuz Richard G. McNeil was a Holy Royal Lodge past Grand High Priest of the Scottish Rite Supreme Council, past Grand Master of the State of New York, Shriners International, past Deputy of the Desert of New York and the Provinces of Canada. Our family goes way back, like I said, to the American Revolutionary War, and Prince Hall, who was born in Barbados and became, him and 14 other free black men were initiated into Scottish Rite Freemasonry by an Irish lodge, military lodge number 441. And Prince Hall became the first Grand Master of colonial American Prince Hall Freemasonry. I'm a third degree Knight, and the Royal Archmasons only have 4 degrees. My Sicilian godfather, Mike Adela, was a 4th degree. Now, my mother served in the Army Security Agency in Frankfurt, Germany, and she was in the Army Security Agency with signals intelligence. And what I want to tell you about drumming was always used to signal attack of an enemy, a warning, horns. In Israel, the shofar, the ram's horn was blown. So this is the great part about musical instruments and watching hand signals and hearing beats. They can be used for signals intelligence. And that's what's I find so interesting about music, the arts, and culture. I have loved drum circles ever since our late Caribbean Irish mom was part of the J Street Drum Circle for years, founded by members of New York Folklore, a non-governmental organization, NGO, bringing a focus to traditions of our state's diverse people. Now, there's a show that I love to watch on TV, and it's called DNA Dinners. And it's produced by this guy, Christopher Knight of quote-unquote Knight Enterprises, based in Ontario, Canada. And DNA Dinners is a groundbreaking new series that explores the diverse heritages of 16 individuals with a twist. You get to watch as they discover their roots through DNA analysis and celebrate them through their cooking. In each episode, the host, Tyrone Edwards, who wears dreadlocks, introduces us to an individual who would like to know more about their ancestry. And I think that's very interesting because, according to Jesse Johnson, my late Uncle Jesse, and our Johnson family, my middle name is Johnson. My paternal grandmother was Louisa Johnson, a descendant of George Washington's biracial siblings. She was one of their descendants. And many of my family members are very light-skinned mulatto that often have been confused over the years for being Caucasian, especially my late senior citizen um, cousin Beatrice Johnson, who married our cousin Herbert Lorenzo Johnson, who was the brother of Republican councilman of East Fishkill, Jesse Ashby Johnson, who had tried to put together in around 1990s a family chart, and he was able to trace back roots to our family having part Native American roots, primarily with the Cherokee tribes and their displacement, the Black Seminole that intermarried, Native Americans intermarrying with former freed slaves, and the Seminole Wars. And James D. Johnson, born in 1881 in Virginia, married into the Finney family of Wappingers Falls, and John A. Finney had come up from Kentucky, and the Finneys intermarried, and they married with the Wappingers Native Americans. So there's just a lot of mixture of Irish, Celtic, Scottish, Native American, a little bit of German in there, the whole Caribbean, African, the whole mixture of the melting pot of what makes us Creoles. Creoles. And of course, later Italian and Germans influenced the Creole people of Louisiana and of the South. My paternal grandmother was a little Cherokee. Brothers, thank you very, very much for the experience. I love when I see you here. That's it, man. Fellowship and community. It's actually right in New Lebanon. New Lebanon's not that big. You can go through New Lebanon in 3 minutes. Literally right over the mountain. All right, we're on our way to the Homelands Powwow in New Lebanon. We're about 42 minutes away. Hey-yo, hey-yo, ah-oh. Hey-yo, yo, hey-yo, 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 hey-yo. When I lived in southern New Jersey, I was located in Gloucester County, but the next county over, Salem County, at Cowtown Rodeo, they would have a lot of Native American art. And right down the road, there was a area where the Native Americans of that region would do a powwow throughout the festival season. And I remember going to my first powwow in the Central Drum and having a great experience. So when I heard about the Homelands Powwow, their first annual powwow located 40 minutes from Schenectady in New Lebanon, I couldn't help but make sure that we not only promoted it, but that we got out to at least the first day of the 2-day Native American powwow in New Lebanon. And we were able to drive down and attend and have a great time and spend time with people. Now, that whole area of New Lebanon was once the ancient lands of the Mohicans. Now, when you look at here where we're at in Schenectady and in this area, the Mohawks were located west of the Hudson River, while the Mohegans and the Lenape Native Americans were in the Hudson Valley and Delaware River Valley area. Look what's happening here. Right. Look at that. We got a nice group of folks out here drumming up. Got a couple men and women hitting it up here in Washington Park. Got it going on over there, yeah. Yes, sir. Here in Washington